asked to speak to Jeffrey Choy because of his efforts to stay involved in the 2019 protests in Hong Kong, even from a distance. I knew that he was unsure if he could ever go back to the city where he was born. We spoke about changes in Hong Kong since the handover in 1997, and more broadly about protest, risk, guilt, and home. So when were you actually last in Hong Kong yourself?
Well, I would say early 2019. So that was before the protests. The last time I went, I didn't think it was the last time. Just like, oh, it's business as usual. Just go back and see my family, have some good food, got a tattoo, and yeah, that's basically about it. I didn't think much of it until later that year when the protests started happening, and I still think, okay, maybe I can go back one day, or maybe I actually like consider maybe I could go back to protest it or whatever, but I didn't. It wasn't worth the risk. What if I go there and got arrested and then I'm banned from traveling back and all these things, the jobs and all that. At the time, I think that's kind of how I starting to feel like the pressure of like, okay, what do I do with my time? Because I'm just watching this in the news from overseas and just kind of dealing with this situation, um, almost in my just safety, and you feel extremely guilty when you do so, when you feel for uh, whatever reason you feel like this you you feel the guilt of like you can just drop this, you can just not watch any of this will not affect your life. So that was when I started to create the book, Uprising. So that was when I started to put together like pieces of protest art. So at the time I was just collecting them, just to have an archive of them, so that I didn't think, oh, okay, what if they no longer exist in the world, but I was just thinking, okay, I want to have like a catalog of them because of that powerlessness, about not being in Hong Kong. Like at first I was just like, oh, okay, I can just put them together in the bundle and just give it to people, and then someone suggested to me that maybe I can create a book.
When did you move out of Hong Kong?
So I actually moved out of Hong Kong around 2016. So, oh, like a bit more context here. So basically, when Britain handing over Hong Kong to China, it's a weird thing. There's a power change within China when Hong Kong was kind of like granted to Britain, and then they were like, oh, like let's put it 100 years lease, and when the handover happened, it handed to a different governing body in China. So that's so they decide, okay, we will keep a separate system for 50 years, and we will not put our hands on Hong Kong until 2047. A lot of people are rightfully skeptical, but I wasn't really aware of it until 2012, which is like one of the first major protests in Hong Kong. But the fact that a lot of people can go out onto the street and demand something, and they give you that thing, and that is very empowering. So in 2014 or 15, there was a large protest as well. A lot of people would refer 2014 as the first time they go on the streets. I remember going, like, just calling my friends living around me, and then at the time 2014 at night, a protest was still going for a few days, and then we're just like, okay, we don't want to risk too much, but we still want to help out. So we went and just joined some first aid team, basically just providing supplies and such, giving waters. I remember giving bandages if needed.
I was going to ask you, like, I'm quite interested in this moment where you were getting this tattoo.
Right. Yeah.
Did you think at that point, did you know that it might be the last time for a long time that you were
No,
in Hong Kong?
yeah, 100% not. I yeah, is I remember saying like goodbye to friends, and I was just like, oh, I'll see you next time. What I can say is a rendition of Hong Kong that I recognize. There are some buildings that are now, if you look at the Hong Kong skyline, they would be they will be missing from this tattoo. And I think this is kind of my memory about the Hong Kong skyline.
It's a mark, but it's also something, some material that becomes part of your body or is going to be in your body forever. Something from Hong Kong went into you, and then you
Yes.
took it away.
So I think that kind of encapsulates what I feel about Hong Kong. Like I I love Hong Kong for the memories it kind of gave me, but also like the kind of identity it built for me in a way. We will read about like the collapse of Soviet Union, and then yeah, like people that lived in Soviet Union at the time, they probably didn't anticipate it happening in their lifetime. Maybe they feel like, oh, I'll just live in this you know this kind of social structure for my lifetime. But I would say, yeah, life, the world changes.
Yeah, so I suppose if you said you were 24 in 2016,
Yeah, I was
you would have
five in
been quite, you were 5 in 1997. Is that right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder what kids are thinking when they see culture changes, when they see social changes at that age. Because yeah, what would a black kid thinks about Black Lives Matter movement
Mm.
when they were 5? Like, how would that change their perspective? And I think that's quite interesting as well.
I
You know,
wonder because you said you're grateful for Hong Kong,
mm,
um, and there is something quite unusual about Hong Kong in the last few decades, in that there are these distinct changes
mm,
already planned. So
mhm,
97, 2047, unlike the Soviet Union or if we say like capitalist liberal democracy, they claim to be a permanent state of affairs, whereas you grew up, even as a young kid, you're aware of this change that will come.
yeah, I
I
suppose
wonder if that
that
is a
is
Hong Konger
how,
thing.
yeah, amount of changes that I have witnessed.
So this is part of what I'm trying to explore with these videos. Living in Britain, growing up in Britain, I think we're
Mm,
very badly prepared for change,
mm,
and the obvious changes that will come will be connected to climate.
mm,
Um, Obviously, there's lots of other things that could happen as well, but I think the thing that we can be certain of is that massive
yeah,
social changes and
yeah.
will occur in our life. And I think, yes, part of my experience of the pandemic was how we really couldn't cope with it. And that's the Dreams of Safety title kind of refers to that,
Mm.
the
Ah,
kind of rush back to
yeah,
something that we thought was safe and kind of solid,
yeah,
but of course isn't.
yeah.
It's very
I think
contingent. If you think about somewhere that you would like to be in Hong Kong now, what would that be?
I'm going to like, yeah, I don't have any like big symbolic moments when I think about Hong Kong. Like I think uh I think the most fond memory I have about Hong Kong and how I would like to kind of re-experience in my own time would have been just going through like a like a street food kind of street, hopefully not hot summer day, uh and also like just um yeah, it's just the feeling of being um feeling home is such a weird, like such a broad way to talk about it. When I think about Hong Kong as home, I was thinking about like a version of Hong Kong that I no longer have access to almost.
So my question that I sent you in advance was like, how do we visualize this
Oh, right.
place in Hong Kong? And your answer is quite helpful because it's something that isn't visual. It's like it's almost kind of
Metaphysical.
atmospheric, maybe metaphysical, but like moving through a space and like having these small transactions,
Yeah,
and it's like emotional. That I'm moving through a street, and these things are so um I don't know what the word is, like it's sort of about motion rather
yeah,
than a thing. So
yeah.
when I ask you to visualize something, or whether we can visualize something, I'm thinking of like an object or a space, but it isn't that.
Being like that, there's something about like how a landscape or how a social environment can change how you act and how Hong Kong has a lot of flaws that I only realized after I moved out. Is that the kind of there are these like almost racial based class separations of the um, expats who are mostly white, mostly colonizing kind of families, uh, or they live in a completely different part of Hong Kong. Ha- yeah, they can be from Hong Kong and they can live a completely different life. And then there's also um, people from East and Southeast, mostly Southeast Asia, kind of like kind of moving. They will work in Hong Kong for very kind of low salary, and that kind of creates a lot of like very matter of fact kind of racism. We always talk about like in Hong Kong, the walking speed is crazy. Like it's basically jogging in most countries, and then that's something that I pick up on a lot. Especially when I just got off a plane. Every time I go back to Hong Kong, when I used to it's like people just like basically sprint to get their luggage, and I was like, why I feel like I used to know this, like that's just feeling I used to know this, but now I kind of like grow of it. It looks so jarring to me, and kind of that feeling is kind of tied back to like what I feel about when I envision like a place in Hong Kong. I don't really I can see I mean you get that sense of feeling like when you go into a street and then you see these ginormous skyscrapers surrounding you. It's just a wall of things. That feeling is special, but it's not about that when you live there.